pull this front clip off, 4 to 7 millimeters, and pull this nose off, and then I'll take this radiator support loose. I took the 4 bolts out of this front nose piece. Now the corners are a little sticky, but once you get them, it's kind of stuck to the plastic under there, but it'll be alright. Just kind of push down and wiggle it out of there. Had to push down. And once you get 2 clips pushed down, then it just got a hinge on the bottom. It's got little raised up deals on it. Aggravating. But anyway, nose clips removed. Put it up someplace that is a painted surface. I'll take these 3 bolts out on each side. And then there's a center nut here. And you can take these nuts off of this hood latch and take it loose if you want to get this piece clear out of the way. There's spacers in behind that'll fall out, and you take them loose. Spacer 1, got all the 10 millimeters out of the header panel, and this one cracked loose, and this one. There was a little plastic piece hooked onto it. And then there's a 13 millimeter stud underneath of the 10 millimeter head on that. This is kind of galled up. I'm going to go ahead and peel this rubber seal up and lay it down somewhere. A little space in there now. And take the upper and lower radiator hose off. Then go underneath. I'm going to clip the fan connector. The fan connector, I'll just turn it on the side in the L shape and push the little hook over. And that releases it to compress the release for it. And take these 10 millimeter bolts out of the bottom of the fan shroud and the condenser bolts on the corners down here. Once you get that condenser bolt out, go ahead and take the mid-ways up fan bolt out right above the connector for the fan. And the clamps off of the transmission lines. You need a drain pan to catch the transmission fluid running out of those. May wait to take that one out from the air conditioner until the fan comes up. Be able to lubricate it and put a gear wrench on it from top. I might go ahead and take this cross brace loose on the driver's side. 10 millimeters, 2 of them. Let this radiator come back a little more. Then come up top, take the passenger side midpoint bolt out of the fan. And then the remaining 2 bolts out of the fan. And I'll pull the radiator back and pull the fan. I'll go ahead and pull the dipstick up out of there so I don't break it off somehow. I'm supporting the fan, got a hold of it. Taking these last top 2 bolts out. Just ease back on the radiator a little bit. Work that right on up out there. Now I'll get the rest of those condenser bolts down the side. And that should do it. This one had a transmission cooler too, and down on the bottom of the radiator there's some tar paper riveted to the tank's radiator. I'll have to peel that off of there or pop the rivets accordingly. It looks like one on each side before pulling the radiator up, and one in the middle. Use some needle nose and pop those rivets out of the bottom of the radiator tank. They're free. A little bit of trash on it. We'll need it back so the antifreeze and transmission fluid aren't. Of course, I guess it's just water in it now, but the transmission fluid will finish draining out of that cooler down there. Look both of your radiators over and make sure that they've got the same hose, pins, size water outlets, width as the original, angle of the water inlets and outlets, and any rubber mounting grommets still stuck to the old one. There's 2 of them. They'll have to be transferred to this new one. Looks good. I'll just change those grommets and check for any body clips that needs moved over. Here's a body clip on here, needs transferred to here. And 2 body clips in the tank, and probably in the bottom tank. Yeah, I'm going to transfer the body clips. This is the top of the radiator. I knocked a hole in the tank, and here's the problems. The cores are stopped up. There's a bunch of trash laying between them. We transferred all the body clips needed transferred for the fan and the rubber mount bushings onto the radiator. It'll be easier. Make sure that they stick on there good. You might have to put some adhesive on them or something to help them hold on if they're flopping around, or replace them. The only hazards I can say watch out for is these stands on this condenser. and ease it back down in there. Well, that went down in there without incident. Now to stick the fasteners back into the condenser and hook that tar paper piece back up on the bottom. And lay it back and drop the fan down in there. The bottom driver's side condenser lower bolt shares the threads with the cooling fan. I stuck a bolt in the lower side just to make sure the hole's in line before I tighten the rest of them down. There should be 3 10mm stuck in the condenser, and that one left open before the fan goes down. Now that the condenser bolts are fastened down, I'm going to go ahead and slip the lower radiator hose and the transmission lines back on. I'm going to recommend starting all the fan bolts before you tighten any of them down, just in case there's some alignment issues. The fan's bolted back together. Don't forget to plug it in down there in its connector. Once you get your surfaces cleaned up, you'll notice that there's a notch looking at it. It's about 1 o'clock. This is a dealership thermostat. Aftermarket may not have all of that. I'm going to drop that notch into the spot provided for it back there. Alright, so insert it up in there. Just lay it down and put the 10mm screws back in it. They tighten down to 105 inch-pounds. Be sure you hold this power steering return hose over to start this bolt out on the corner so you can get it started straight. If it hangs up, you're cross-threading it and need to back it out and get a straight shot at it. Just tighten them both down evenly. And put your upper radiator hose back on and tighten the intake bolts down from the center outwards to 105 inch-pounds if you took them loose. And don't forget to install your hanger if you took it out in this second bolt hole here. Reinstall your overflow hose. This sits in a notch there. I'm going to be mixing up a 60-40 batch of Mopar 5-year 100,000 mile antifreeze. I don't see why this stuff here wouldn't work just the same. The orange stuff. But anyway, mixed 1 gallon of the antifreeze to about 3/4 gallon of water. Come up with a mixture of minus 45 below zero. 2 gallons is enough to fill the system and put some in the overflow. I filled it full of antifreeze, turned the heater on high, got good heat. As long as you got heat, more than likely you don't have any air lock problems. Put everything back together. Went ahead and put a regular hose clamp on the upper hose. This radiator outlet's just a little bit smaller. And I tighten the cross brace down. I'm going to go ahead and stick the radiator support back in there and put the hood latch back on with the washers behind it. bolt this center support back up with this. This temperature sensor broke off of this. I'll probably zip tie it to it. It's in business. Looking good. Spacers are back in the latch. Tighten down. Just put the nose and the 4 screws back in it. Latch it on to the slot down in the corners provided. Clean any debris or as much as you can off of the condenser. Blocks airflow and causes overheating and inefficiency of the air conditioner. Everything seemed to work out well. Go ahead and stick the rubber seal back on it and be done.